So yeah, obviously you have already mentioned the album. It was released just over a week ago now, right?
29th of May. So that was, yeah, a week and a bit ago.
What's it like to kind of finally have your debut album out?
Yeah, it's pretty special. It's kind of something we've been working towards for a long time. You know, you know, we do this kind of in our spare time, and we do it, you know, like when we can. But it is a labor of love. But it is something we took a lot of care and a lot of attention over, and we're really really proud of it. And so to finally have it out in the world is pretty special, actually. You know, I stayed up until midnight. And like went on Spotify and I think it was on Amazon Music and you know waited for it to sort of come out, and it was like, oh wow, it's all there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So
hi guys, sorry I'm late.
Hey, no, you're good.
Time difference when I synced from being in Zante and it fucked up. So yeah, there we go.
So good.
Hello.
Hey.
So it was like the mid-flow of an interview, then that just completely fucked up.
Yeah.
I'd be alright. I was just asking how it feels to finally have the album out.
Amazing. Reassuring, but quite surreal actually. Like we've been working on this for a long time, and we always knew it'd take. I don't know. I felt like we fell into that sort of like stereotypical. We're going to put an album out, and it won't be that'll take that long, and then it took forever. But there's been loads of good reasons why, and we've done releases in between, and I think then that sort of summed up this testament to how strong we feel about these songs, because we wrote these songs a long time ago, and I'm just love writing new stuff all the time. So for me, especially when I'm always writing stuff in the background, to still be so like convinced of these songs that have lived with us for a bit, it makes me feel the flip side to what I'd usually be, like really, really just like truly like convinced they are the songs they should be and sit together, and just dead proud of it. And it's like I feel like it's a bit like a tattoo, a real timestamp over the last sort of 4 or 5 years of what we've been through, and even more so with me and Arun, because of it's a passion project, isn't it? And we've had lineup changes. If you take the very first song, would that be Incarcerate? I think
yeah. Incarcerate was the first one we wrote.
So that's with like our old drummer, old bass player, which is mental. And then that ended up being a single, and so it's a relief in a most positive way possible.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And what kind of went into the decision to do an album? I know you said you'd been sitting on it for a few years, but and obviously you keep getting told that the industry leans towards singles and EPs and all this kind of thing. Like,
I actually think the reason we chose to do it as an album was actually artistic. So it was us, because if you look at our history, kind of up to now, we've always released singles and EPs, and you know we've done loads of those sorts of things, but we didn't want to break this block of songs up. Like there had been conversations between me and John about like splitting the album into two and releasing it as two EPs, or you know like dropping a single here or there or something like that. But it was like, no, we feel really strongly about the album, and it flows. And particularly when I think the lyrics started being penned by John, the story it was telling. See, I mean, you know, I don't want to speak for you, John, but like, it's not a concept album, but it is conceptual in its sort of flow. And we didn't really want to break that up. But I think it is just the strength of the songs. We just felt, no, these songs need to come out together as a block, like as an album. And although we're told that the industry does push us towards singles and EPs and the frequency from the listener's point of view, I kind of think from the other side, albums are still preferred. And again, maybe we've got a bit of an old school mindset in that. For me, if I see a new song come out by a band, I'm like, oh, that's great. Right, when's the album out?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's still a bit of a stamp in time. Maybe that's
I'm old as well, or it's just that's a little bit more of a metalhead way of thinking as well, and especially in that sort of, I don't know, like metal film grain. You know, you can't imagine really, like even Machine Head when they put that EP out of 3 songs, that still ended up being 3 songs that are on their album.
Yeah, true.
Down the line. Oh my God, are they ever going to do an EP? If they do, it just still doesn't get the same coverage an album does. And I think it's just for me, like, especially we've been doing this band on and off, like, between the different lineups for like 10, 11 years. Just having that big green tick next to, like, we've done an album. Because again, it's a passion project. We're not, believe it or not, we're not making millions on this. So it's just to have that, and I think even more so, like, we probably thought that, off the back of what you just said, Arun, definitely thought, like, right, we've got these songs, and we had more songs than this, so we whittled them down to this 9, 10. But looking back now, even more so, like, because there's been that sort of, like, on-off sort of blip and doing an EP in between the writing sessions, they really are just this collection of songs and stamps in time, so... Yeah, but for me, it's just getting that big tick next to it, and I think what Arun says, like, get stuff out all the time. I still think, like, there's been, like, more of a positive reaction and more of an investment from people, whether it's been people that's helped us out with the videos or PR. There's still felt more of an investment and a passion because it's been an album rather than, like, a single or an EP. So, but yeah, old school mentality, I think, is probably a big factor in that.
Yeah, I have noticed it feels like it's a bit easier to kind of tour and do the whole festival thing when you've got an album as opposed to just the odd, track here and there.
Yeah, definitely. I think if I checked out a band and they hadn't got an album that I could just invest in, I'd be a bit like, really? So it still ticks that box for me, but that's me. It's just constantly not trying to constantly say, oh, is it because I'm old? It's just like...
I think it's a good body of work. It's a good way to get a good cross-section of a band. I'm not dissing singles or EPs at all. I mean, I think they're great. They're a great way to kind of dip your toe in, but I think particularly in metal, there is that thing of people like to invest and like to, immerse themselves in the music. I would hazard a guess that probably doesn't happen in R&B. I don't know, maybe it does. But particularly in metal, there is that sort of thing, and yeah, it's just I don't know. I think it just works, and ultimately, it's something we wanted to do.
Exactly.
To satisfy our own creative desires. So if you can do stuff that's for yourself, I think doesn't matter how successful you are, I think you're already winning at that point.
Yeah, very true. And what's the kind of writing process like for you guys? Has it evolved with the new members coming in and the lineup changes and all this?
So there's a general framework, so basically songs start either from John or from me, and we usually start with riffs, and often me and him will tennis it back and forth between us. It'll either be a riff, like a verse idea and a chorus idea or something from me or from him, and then we'll send it to the other person. That might spark some ideas. We'll send it back, and we'll sort of put a very rough but not final at all structure together, just in a demo, just so we can listen to it, and then we'll send it on to the band. And then the band will listen to it. We'll bring it into the room, and the guys will have their ideas. I mean, like bringing Owen on board, he's got some really good ideas for grooves and things that will lift certain parts in certain ways, which John and I don't think of because we're not drummers. Like, we understand drums, but we're not drummers. So there's definitely ideas from them. We sort of, and I would say under John and mine direction, the band as a whole generally shapes the songs to get them to where to sort of where they are. Sometimes we find the recording process can be a bit creative as well. We'll sometimes we won't change structures necessarily, but like how something's played or whether a fill goes in a certain place, for example, might change depending when we record it. So it is kind of I'd say it's a team effort, but it's also very DIY. We've got enough skills between us to do recording and producing and stuff like that. And this album was completely self-produced.
Oh, nice.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, we did that. We did. I mean, I engineered almost all of it, and produced a lot of it. John produced a lot of it as well, and John mixed it all. So
that's
it is
cool.
it's a team effort, but it's also very DIY as well.
Yeah, I feel like we're not actually seeing as much DIY at the minute in terms of like mixing yourself and all this kind of thing. So it is cool to see.
Yeah, and you might not for the next one because it nearly killed you, didn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, trying to move house and job at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
Was tough, but I think, like, I think when they say was it 10,000 hours on something, then you kind of got your.
Yeah.
I think I know. I don't buy endless plugins all the time now. I've got my arsenal of stuff, and I know. I don't know if I could mix anyone else. I kind of know what we want to sound like, and when we've dabbled with getting other people in, which we've got. What I want to do is I want to find someone that gets us, so we can just get to the end of the recording process.
Yeah.
Because I'm still doing all the artwork. I'm working heavily with like the video guys and like all the concept around the art. So trying to palm something off would be good. But I think it's like just that attention to detail. Like if we're doing it ourselves, we can just not dwell on it, but like there'll be things we can put in that someone you just pay an hourly rate to wouldn't do.
Yes.
And I could probably get it to sound somewhere half decent stroke professional. It might take me a bit longer than someone else, but I can get there, and that's it. But yeah, it was life stuff. I think you've got big bands that battle with touring budgets and stuff like that, but then amateur bands, unsigned bands like us, we've got to deal with having a high pressure day job and a family and putting a moving house. So there's other things that revolve around it. But yeah, I suppose putting out an advert there, just trying to find that fifth member from a mixing point of view would be really cool going forward.
That would be ace. I mean, what you'd look for there is somebody that's almost as emotionally invested in it as you are.
Yes.
Which is difficult to find, and who knows whether we'll find that in the future. But we also know we can do it ourselves. So and it's ultimately our band. So like
And something I feel dead proud of is because we've there's things like we had to track the bass 3 times because of ghouls.
Some technical glitches we had.
Yeah, and we wanted to retrack the guitars because of X, Y, and Z. And so we really wanted to make sure it was the best sort of thing. So when it eventually got to that point of Arun gathering all the stems and the DIs and the drum tracks and them getting sent over to me, I honestly think this is the best sounding recording record we've put out. So to justify all that hard work's great.
Yeah.
We could have got to the point where we're like, it sounds okay. And we would have just been like, we're still going to put it out because we've just spent 3-4 years doing it, depending how you count it up. But for it to actually, I think all those hours and those retracks and doing this and spending 3 days nearly without sleep tracking drums and stuff like that to get it done. Fortunately, it did actually pay off. It did. The proof was in the pudding. Where so I'm just again another relief and proud moment of the album. Just for all the hard work and all the efforts did pay off, and it's we can just put it out there as proud as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And then, do you guys have a favorite track from the album? Like you say, you've had them for a few years in the chamber now, so it might have changed since you first wrote them.
The reactions to the songs and people doing little top threes really, really cool, and really interesting, and it being really quite broad. It seems to have been a really different mix, which is really cool. So that kind of spreads it across the album. And then I think I don't know, emotionally attached. I've got a different probably stance because there's lyrics in there, aren't there? And they've changed and developed over time. And I think I've written some songs in the past where I've written them about someone else, and then you fast forward 2 years and suddenly realise I'm relating them to even more than when I wrote them about a friend or a loved one, something like that. And that's happened on numerous occasions. The single we put out called Aftermath is a really good example of that, but that's definitely happened on a few of these. So Yeah, I don't know, but I think if I had to pick one for me, I think it'd just be the Final Nail because of.
Was it in the title track?
Yeah, lyrically, title track. It's that kind of sad but true sort of groove headbang, but it still goes fast and heavy. So yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I think it really depends what day you ask me, because like it'll be almost a different song every day. But if I had to pick just one, it'd probably be Broken Reflections. But I'm also very, I really like The Storm. The Storm means a lot. So, John writes lyrics and some I relate to more than others.
Yes.
Some songs I relate to more than others, and I try and get emotionally invested in the songs as well, particularly if I'm producing it. But so yeah, I really don't know. I'd probably say my favourite right now is Broken Reflections, because I think that's quite a good indication of where we might be going.
Yes,
and it was quite collaboratively written, which I quite like as well. And it's
what I like about that song is quite a few people have picked up on that, and I feel like at the moment it's not one of the singles, so it's not been one that's pushed in people's faces. So the few or the people that have checked out the album, for them to zone in on that song's quite cool. It's quite late in the album, and I've seen people share the single or the YouTube video of that. So that's cool. I don't know.
But I guarantee if you asked Owen, our drummer, and Luke, our bassist, what their favourite songs was, they'd say different. I mean, I think I know Owen's is The Waiting. I don't know what Luke's favourite song would be, but I guarantee it'd be different from ours. But
yeah,
to me, that's a testament to how good the album is.
Yeah, definitely. And then do you guys have a busy rest of the year planned kind of show-wise in support of it? I've seen a couple of bits on social media.
Yeah, we've got a few. So the main thing that we're pushing quite a lot is on the 18th of July, we're doing what's essentially an album launch show, and it's kind of the closest thing to an evening with Beyond Salvation. But what we're doing is we're playing the entire album in full from start to finish, and some old songs at the end as well. So that's kind of that's the one we want to push the most.
Yes.
But aside from that, we are doing a few shows around the country. We've got one in Birmingham, one in Nottingham, one in Newcastle. I should probably have got the dates up, but I forgot. Sorry.
So good.
Well, it's good though, because we had to take a conscious decision to go, right, we've got to fucking stop gigging.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this album finished. So we were so close, and it was just like, right, let's just zip it in last year, and then that's been something that we've not done much of. And then now the gigs we've got is I think we've got 7 or 8 planned for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we do.
They're dotted around the country, which is again something that we didn't quite get the momentum on last year, the year before. So hopefully it'll all work out like a perfectly oiled machine. We've got this album, we can push that. Yeah. We're going to be dotting around the country with some great bands. So Solitary, for one example, I think that's cool. Is that the Newcastle show?
That's the Newcastle show.
That'd be a good gig.
Yeah, so we've played with them before, and we know Rich quite well, so that'll be great. And then to finish it off, we've got Frashchester in Manchester, which again is very close to our hearts because we've done that twice before. We know Jane, they're helping us out of our show. I do all the artwork for the gig as well. So, and then we're bang middle in the set. So I feel like that's going to be that gig's always rammed from doors, but that should be the last gig of the year. So I think it'd be a really good way of just sort of rounding off this year hometown show and just sort of celebrate party vibes.
And what's going to be really cool about the gigs this year, so until this point, we've constructed sets in a certain way with, as any band does, which is largely from your released music and particularly with what you're promoting at the time. Live, we have played Incarcerate a few times. Not since we released it as a single. We played it back in 2021, actually. But we haven't really played any other song off the album live before. We didn't want to fall into that trap of just playing new stuff and getting excited about it and then no one can buy it. But actually, when we start writing sets for the gigs coming up, we're going to be primarily, it's going to be new for us actually, because we're going to have to write new sets that we've not done before.
Yeah, exactly.
And, but that's exciting because it's but we'll still play some old songs as well because we know there's a couple of songs that people really, really like. So it's going to be a new challenge. But like, you know, a really cool one.
Yeah, it does sound good. I didn't actually see the Nottingham date. I'll have to see where it is and pop down.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. If I can pull it up dead quickly. It's at. I think we've got two. And what's TNT? Is that Tap and Tumblr?
Yes, I assume so.
Yeah. I think we've got two at the Tap.
Oh,
and
cool.
Tumblr. I need to confirm that with Dan actually. But yeah, we've got. Yeah, we've got. Because are you based near Nottingham then? Yeah,
kind of in between Nottingham and Derby. Yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll let you know when the Nottingham one is, or when they are.
Yes.
And come along.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If they're not announced as well, I'll just cut this bit. Don't worry.
Yeah. They'll be announced.
But then when you're like, you should know. I should know.
What's
going on?
Yeah, exactly.
This is the thing. We've been so busy with the album campaign that the odd gig offers come in, and I go like, I'll check my calendar. Yeah, not doing anything. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Check with the guys. Yeah, great. Fine, book it, and then sort of forgotten about it because I'm like, right, album. You know?
Yes, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
And then what do you guys kind of make of the scene in the UK at the minute? I know you say you've not been as busy the last year or so, but I imagine you've still managed to get out a fair bit.
I think we're spoiled in Manchester because it's brilliant. And it was cool. I know talking COVID's quite weird now because it's half a decade ago, but like Beyond started, say, like 4 or 5 years before COVID, and it seemed like the same sort of bands and stuff, and then it was interesting to come back after COVID, and then suddenly you've got this like whole fresh generation of, not generation, but younger bands suddenly coming out and feeling like they're all ready, like Tortured Demon would be a really obvious example, and then playing with them and stuff. But yeah, I think Manchester, genuinely, we're like pretty spoiled, because of, you know, a lot of the gigs get a really, really good turnout for like an underground scene. So that's really nice. And then broader, I don't think we've had good gigs. We've had iffy gigs. So it's just one of those where I'm really, really intrigued, excited, curious to see what this back half of the year holds, and see what we can say.
But I mean, particularly with stuff like Metal to the Masses that happens around the country, for Bloodstock, I mean, that gets such a good reaction. I mean, the Manchester Metal to the Masses final was the weekend just got. I didn't actually get to. I didn't get to, unfortunately. Something else on, but that was rammed from the second the doors opened.
Yes,
and it stayed.
So I was in Zante sipping a cocktail. So
yeah, but I also know that other ones around the country get really, really busy as well. And like, I mean, I think I saw like one or two of them were sold out like a couple of weeks before.
Oh wow!
The finals were sold out a couple of weeks before the actual date, and so I'm almost like, are there more bands than fans now? I don't know, but like there are that many bands, but I mean, that's got to be a good thing, right? Because it means more people want to have a go, more people are feeling inspired, and for the old codgers like us, it keeps us fresh because it's like shit, we've got to
yeah.
Also, I think these days some of my very, very favourite bands are British. Like, as in, not even just like, I like them because they're from the UK. Like, they're genuinely my some of my favourite music that I've listened to lately. Where I remember being a teenager growing up, I don't want to name anyone, but you're just like, it was all America bands that were like the ones. Do you know what I mean? It just nothing really from the UK seemed to click with me at all. Where
I would say, like, growing up, obviously you had your UK pioneers like your Judas Priests and your Black Sabbaths and stuff, but we're a little young for when they first came on the scene. But like, I would agree with you, John. Like growing up, like all my favorite bands were American, and quite a lot of them still are. But there are lots of really, really cool British bands. I mean, mine and John's favorite band basically is a British band from Reading, and it's so cool to see. It's so cool to see that. It's yeah, don't know. It's nice to listen to a band who knows what Tesco is.
Yeah, true. I feel like the community itself's quite strong as well, with there being so many bands out there. Everyone seems to, kind of go along to each other's gigs, and everyone's pretty supportive, and it's quite a nice vibe at the minute.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's a lot on, but they're all well attended. I mean, I don't want to get too on my soapbox, but I wonder whether it's one of those things that it's something that's really needed, because, if we don't have gigs, what do we have?
Yeah, exactly.
I basically joined this band because I had no friends that were into metal. I had one guy, Marshy, so then I was like, fuck hell, I need to make some mates to get a gigs with. And then you join a metal band, and then you're arguing over, well, actually, I prefer Megadeth to Metallica, and then you can't agree on that. So then it becomes more subsided. So, fortunately, me and Arun align on a lot. But now it's amazing. I love getting, you can just go to a gig and I'll know gazillions of people there, from whether it's from Beyond or gigging or gigs. So, definitely it's a good place to be.
And then I did kind of find that you guys are pretty good at the whole social media game at the minute. And I was going to ask if you had any advice for bands that are just starting out on, it's quite a mammoth undertaking, I feel, these days.
It's just, you've just got to do it. It's not, you know what, you should try. Arun's more the daddy on this, and the guys we've been working with from DC Sound Attack have been a massive help and stuff, but try and make it as fun as you can, because we've got a few bloopers and stuff, and I've already looked back at it. It's only a couple of months ago, but you know what? Really fucking funny, happy, fond memories of just me and the guys trying to pull things together to try and get content together. So you know what? Just be genuine. I think be yourselves and have fun with it. But unfortunately, it's a necessary evil. Yeah. That makes sense. But as long as it comes out genuine, I think it's okay, and then that's fine. So
that's basically what I was going to say, is that it's got to be genuine and from a genuine place. And if you try and do something funny or try and do something, people will see straight through it. And whenever we put up videos of us sort of talking or even being a bit silly, that's us, you know what I mean? We did one where our bassist went, right guys, I'm the bassist, and then just melt down. That's just genuinely him. That's him. He is. I love him to bits. He's great. But there's a thing there about being, you've got to be genuine. But unfortunately, there is more of a focus now, I think, on you've got to do things regularly, and planning ahead actually works really well. And kind of having content banked, as it were. But also, don't forget why we're doing this. We're doing this for the music, so the music's still got to be really good. You don't want to let the music suffer because of the content you've got to create. Because if you're creating content and playing the social media game, but your music's rubbish, then it's all pointless, isn't it? So
yeah, very good point. And then as kind of a lighter final question, do you have a dream tour lineup you'd want to be a part of? Anyone you want to
be a part of?
Yeah, anyone you want to kind of support, or friends you want to bring along, or
Machine Head, Trivium, Sylosis, Beyond Salvation.
I think you took the words exactly out of my mouth. I think that's it. Yeah,
it's a good bill.
The original Sepultura lineup. That'd be a nice one to jump on the back of, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, that's less likely, is it? I think that's it. Machine Head, Trivium, Sylosis, Oz.
That's a very good lineup there.
Yeah.
Let's have a word. Let's get it sorted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really like that new Sylosis album they put out earlier this year as well.
It's so good.
Very good.
I actually stopped myself listening to it because I don't want to get sick of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I keep hearing new things, but I'm just waiting for the right time to kind of get back into it and then just be like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean that one. Apart from Beyond's album, obviously, that one's my number one of the year, straight up.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all I've got anyway. So thanks for taking some time out of your evening to sit and chat.